Welcome back to another edition of the Bible Vlog. Today we're going to be looking at Acts chapter 24, and this is all about Paul being on trial. So yesterday we read that Paul was brought into the middle of the night to Caesarea because there was a plot by about 40 Jewish guys that were trying to take his life. Now these guys basically took an oath that they wouldn't eat or drink anything until they had killed Paul. So because of this threat, Paul is relocated by the Roman centurions who were guarding him, and he's brought before the governor of the region, whose name is Felix. Now no one knows still yet exactly what Paul is supposed to be guilty of. So in verse 1 it says that after 5 days, Ananias the high priest and some of the elders come down to give their evidence to the governor Felix against Paul. So of course they don't actually have anything that Paul's done wrong, so they have to try and show Felix that Paul's attempting to lead this religious sect without Roman approval, which would have been against the law. Now look at how they describe Paul in verse 5. For we have found this man a plague, a creator of dissension among all the Jews throughout the world, and a ringleader of the sect of the Nazarenes. He even tried to profane the temple, and we seized him and wanted to judge him according to our law. Now it's interesting to note here that in verse 5 they actually refer to the Christians as a sect of the Nazarenes. Now this is obviously in reference to Jesus of Nazareth, but even at this point it was hardly a sect. Christianity was already growing at a rapid rate and was no doubt something that these guys are very well aware of and are trying to stop. Now in verses 10 through 21, Paul gives his defense to the governor Felix, and Paul holds nothing back. He shows that what he's being accused of can actually not even be proven. He's also open about the fact that he does believe in the Old Testament law and the prophets, but that he understands these same doctrines in the new light of Jesus of Nazareth being the Messiah. Basically, he's trying to show to Felix that I believe everything that these guys believe. It's simply that I accept Jesus as the Messiah, and this is what these religious leaders hate. Now, what's interesting about the governor Felix is that he actually had quite a bit of knowledge about these things. See, he was actually married to a Jewish woman named Drusilla. So this topic that Paul is bringing up is actually pretty interesting to Felix, and he ends up dragging out Paul's case for over 2 years. Now, during this 2-year period, he actually commands that a Roman centurion watch over Paul and give him freedom to have friends visit him and provide for him for anything that he needs. So this actually turns into a pretty good situation that Paul finds himself in, being provided a place to stay by the governor and being allowed freedom to have visitors come and go as he wants. So during these 2 years, what happens is that Paul ends up preaching to the governor Felix and his wife most of the time. Again, Paul taking advantage of any preaching opportunity he can get. Now listen to what happens in verse 25. Talking about Paul, now as he reasoned about righteousness, self-control, and the judgment to come, Felix was afraid and answered, "Go away for now. When I have a convenient time, I will call for you." You see, here's the thing. If you hung around Paul enough, you were always going to hear about Jesus. It didn't matter your status or what you were in charge of in this ancient world. Paul used every opportunity that he had to share about Jesus with anyone willing to listen. This is exactly what he does with the governor Felix. Guys, that is it for us today with chapter 24. It's a little bit of a shorter chapter, but it's all setting up for a moment coming soon where Paul is actually going to be brought before Caesar himself to testify about Jesus. It's amazing stuff that actually happened in Rome, where the most powerful leader in the ancient world is about to have Jesus preached to him because of Paul. Guys, as always, make sure to come back Monday. We will be picking it right back up with Acts chapter 25. There's only 28 chapters in this book. We're nearing the end of it. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. God bless you guys. We will see you back here first thing on Monday morning.